Hey, Deep Fried Neurons here. Just wanted to check in and let you know that this is an episode of Tangents, which is something we did at 50 episodes, where I completed 1 year of doing this podcast. And, I was just having fun with a couple of friends where we just jumped from one topic to another and tangentially moved from one place to another. So, this episode is just called the second part of Tangents, or the second rendition of Tangents, if you will. I should let you know that during the show, especially around the 45-ish minute mark to like the 60-minute mark, we talked about Breaking Bad and we gave up a few spoilers. So I don't want you to tell me in the comments that I didn't warn you. A few, not a few, like maybe one spoiler for BoJack Horseman. Uh, we spoil a Pickle Rick episode for you in this episode, like from Rick and Morty, but I don't think that should matter because the entire point of that episode is that nothing matters, to be honest. But if you go through it, you'll know, like 20 minutes of Rick and Morty. And then, second time this is happening, by the way, second time a flight has interrupted me, and How I Met Your Mother spoilers. So I'm just gonna cue the fucking before.
Well, hello.
What's up?
What's up? What's up, party people? Well,
It's your
good.
boys.
Party
The boys
people.
are back in town.
It's good to be back.
Guess
The
who's
boys
back?
didn't. The boys didn't leave town, to be fair, but they're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boys have been
If
inside
you
the
guys,
house for 2 months now.
The
yeah,
boys. The boys want to go away. Honest to God.
who let the boys out is gonna
Who?
be the next. Who
Sorry.
every person that's violating the social distancing, they should clip that up and have who let the boys out play.
Like proper Aaj Tak type newsreel. Like who let the boys up? More at 9.
That'd be great. That'd make the news so much better to watch.
That
To be honest,
that would. My God, have you guys been watching the news though?
I mean, the
On the
last news
internet.
that I saw, yeah, on the internet, yeah.
No,
I
my
mean,
mom
more.
insists on. My mom insists on watching Aaj Tak for an hour in the morning.
Last time I did that was the Modi address, and then I
Yeah.
never went back. Yeah, so that was it for me.
I was so pissed off at that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We're gonna go there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
33 minutes and the dude doesn't give any information out.
I mean,
अरे no, he said, अरे Anuj, Anuj तू
Atmanirbhar.
सुन नहीं रहा, Anuj तू सुन नहीं रहा, देख, India is doing so well, सबने praise किया है. Have you heard कि सबने praise किया है? No,
Of
I don't know
course.
if you got it. सबने praise किया है.
he was like
And
30 seconds away from saying Parampara Pratikta Anushasana. I was like, यार मोहब्बत ही तुमने परसों देखी है, ये क्या हो रहा है टीवी पे?
I did question my understanding of Hindi. I did. Because while
No,
I was listening to it, I was like, what the fuck did I do for 10 years?
I was clutching my report card and crying after that for like at least an hour.
I was looking
Yeah.
at my report card and I was laughing. I was like, not that bad, huh? Like, I can still talk. How about that?
Oh yeah,
Well-
that was a flex. That was nothing more.
I'm glad we started on like a very, relatively harmless note, People will
Yeah.
be so thrilled with our commentary on this.
Just politics, nothing to see here. Don't
It's
worry.
nothing.
They'd be like, जब भी ये दो भड़वे आते हैं इसके चैनल पे ना कुछ तो होता है.
Actually, you know what? I think we need to steer away from this. We need to talk about something just calmer, less controversial. So, what are your thoughts on religion? Give it to me now. 3, 2, 1.
Listen,
Go.
this channel has been flagged like jerks off to atheist like fucking tapes. Like, if Richard Dawkins showed up on my feed, I'm jerking off. Basically, that's where
Wow.
this channel is at this point.
Just gonna.
It's
Just
true. It's
gonna-
just like just above Jordan Peterson, somewhere on that line.
No. Jordan Peterson is a believer, by the way. If you guys
Uh-huh.
didn't know. Yeah.
Wait,
No,
he is?
Yeah, he's a huge Christian
What?
believer.
I
Yeah.
actively
Weirdly,
avoid.
guys.
I actively
weirdly
avoid his
surprised.
videos.
I read his book.
Wow, that's some
Yeah.
dedication.
It was just like biblical principles and general advice from Stoic philosophy rebranded into a bestseller
okay.
book.
Might as
I
well
mean, to
just
be
read
fair, the Bible was a bestseller book. To be fair, is a
That's
bestseller.
That's true.
Still
Fun
is.
fact for all your listeners: the Bible is the #1 most shoplifted book. And I'll tell you why that's okay, right? Because before you read the Bible, you're like, oh, theft is cool. And then you steal the Bible, you're like, oh, fuck, theft is wrong. So it might
Yeah.
be a return book.
It's a lesson. It's the shoplifter's rite of passage. They steal. They're shoplifting until they take the Bible away, and then they learn.
Yeah.
That's a good way to learn. Teach kids. Don't shoplift. It's bad because you'll be sacrificed instead of a goat or something. I haven't read the Bible properly. I'm just gonna be honest there.
I have. It's pretty wild.
It is. It
Yeah.
gets pretty wild. It gets really wild. Like, I was so surprised there was no rave party scene in the Bible.
We're going there. We're going there.
Okay.
Okay, so
So let's just not. Okay, you know what? Let's not
Okay.
get into the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't say it.
Yashasvi's been trying to get Yashasvi's been trying to get people into reading the Bible for months now.
have.
It's a weird subplot.
That's
It's a
so
weird
much fun to read. You guys, come on. Quarantine does weird things.
By the way, true story. Yashasvi just sent me like all of us a meme about 15 minutes before this podcast began about BDSM and how it stands for Bible Discussion Study Group.
It's true, guys.
Amazing.
What else does it fucking stand for?
I mean, it's true. That's
It's
how
true.
I read the Bible.
I mean,
Haha.
that's my Bumble profile bio. It's just like way into BDSM. Meet me on Sunday.
Nice.
No cops.
You're wondering why
No.
people wearing leather show up. You keep asking why are the people in leather and chains? What's
Because
up? Why do they keep showing up?
They haven't read the Bible. When they read the Bible, they'll know you're not supposed to wear mixed fabric. Okay, it's in the Bible.
Okay, you know what, guys? Forget everything I've said in episode 69 of this podcast. BDSM stands for Bible Study,
No, Bible discussion study.
Bible
meeting.
Discussion Study Meeting.
Yeah. And this is what this podcast is. No, come on, guys. We need to go to a less controversial topic. Okay.
Okay, I have one for you guys. I'm gonna hijack this slightly.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
please.
Um,
Please.
So speaking of leather and chains, the Undertaker. I've been watching a documentary on the Undertaker.
Sure, Bible
And
Undertaker.
I've been updating Yashasvi on it slightly.
Yeah.
And it's like it's
You ever
this
seen-
weird. It's a
Watching parents like childhood go down in flames in real time. It's amazing.
Undertaker wearing a Blue Lives Matter shirt throughout the documentary is
Oh dear God.
is
Anyway, you were saying.
yeah. Anyway, so it's an interesting. So I wanted to ask you guys because I mean I know you guys aren't like following wrestling and stuff, but everyone kind of knows the Undertaker. So the Undertaker is just
Yeah.
this person like when you were a kid, you know who that is, an undead zombie that wrestles well and punches and stuff. It's such a weird character. And so this documentary is kind of like about him trying to find his perfect last match. Okay. And it's a vicious cycle of like someone that's too old to keep going.
Like Goldberg.
Right? Yeah, but like constantly not being
Shots fired.
Wow. Any Goldberg fans on the chat have left. So Undertaker it's like a weird, he's saying, oh, I want to go out on a good note, but because I'm old and can't do this anymore, there's no good note. It'll always be bad. So
The
like
good note was 20 years ago, man. Like, come on.
yeah, and it's been making me really sad. I've been watching this fucking documentary and just getting upset every time and realizing that like this person that I looked up to, not looked up to, you don't look up to a zombie, but I was
Yeah.
in awe of as like a kid, just being this human that I'm like, you are a fucking idiot. Stop doing this. God.
What was
Anyway,
the lowest
that's fine.
point for Undertaker in like my memory?
Uh-huh.
The movie he did with Akshay Kumar,
Oh, Khiladi.
Khiladi.
Dude, that was the
Oh
highlight.
shit. That might have been a highlight.
Alright, do you
Yeah,
want to do
that's a high
Khiladi
point.
next? By the way, we're
Wait.
from Bad in Bollywood, in case we forgot to mention.
Yeah.
That's you guys remember us, right? Come on.
You guys remember us? We watch
Yeah,
bad movies.
yeah.
I don't know if you're still
Like, share,
listening. If you
yeah.
still care.
Mom? Anyway.
You know the one podcast I keep plugging on my main more than Yashasvi ever does on his main.
Oh, we're getting into admin
So
wars. We're
we're
getting
calling
into
me out, okay?
There will be a lot
yeah.
of calling you out, to be honest. Like,
That's fair. You know, I do a lot of shit.
So anyway, the point of me telling this really sad, me losing my childhood thing is, I want to ask you guys: have you had someone that like when you were a kid, you're like, this guy or this girl is really cool, and I look up to them, and then when you got older, you were like, oh well, actually, that they're not so good, are they? They're kind of stupid and have let me down.
I
You
can
know.
take this to a whole different arena, but I really don't want to. So
yeah, I mean, go ahead, to be honest.
Parents not allowed on chat. Okay, you're not allowed to say
Oh, parents is not allowed
mom,
already.
dad.
Oh, fuck you, Karan.
Yeah. I knew it. I knew it. You guys. I'm talking about like celebrities. You know, anyone that's a figure in pop culture in some way. Because I don't want this to become the sad podcast.
I think more than people, it was always the idea of some profession that will give me fulfillment. Like ever since I was a kid, I used to go from like motorbike racer. Then I wanted to become a carpenter for a few years. No content, just wanted to be a carpenter. Then I wanted to be
Hmm.
like cricketer for a few years. Like every kid goes through the motion, so I didn't really have a celebrity or something that I'd latch onto. But I
It was
also
like
learned in 2018 because of Karan that Kane and Undertaker aren't actually half brothers. And I felt what
what?
context in which he brought it up, we were sitting somewhere and he's like, yeah, can't believe I thought they were brothers when I was a kid. I was like, oh, before.
You mean the libertarian mayor and the guy that was the Blue Lives Matter shirt aren't related? I know it is confusing. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, interesting trivia since we're on the Kane and Undertaker like thing. I'm
Tangent.
birthday twins with Kane.
With Kane, wow. It's
Yeah,
younger brother, kinda angry.
7 foot tall.
Yeah, younger
In,
brother.
into like some kind of emo music sort of.
What?
Yeah, Kane's entrance
Oh
music
yeah.
though. Kane's
I think
entrance
it's
music.
called Finger
So banger.
11 by I forget who.
You wonder where Sorry, that's my
Singing
Uh,
on my podcast is an
impression of.
amazing subplot. I like cherish. Every time I go back to those episodes, I'm like,
it's kind of the most effective plug for bad in Bollywood.
yes, yes, it is.
I don't sing on every. I've sung on every Anuj episode though. I have.
That
That
is
has
true. That is
happened.
true.
That is
Oh
true.
god.
I've been on your podcast what, five
Oh boy.
times?
Ah,
Yeah, you might be our
yeah,
most recurring guest.
I
Yeah.
think it was it 5 times.
Yeah.
I think it was
So
more than five. It feels like more than 5 times.
Let's.
I think sometimes we've just summoned you. We've summoned you even when you hadn't watched the movie, but you remembered it better than us. So it
Carl.
doesn't
Carl.
matter.
No,
Carl, even Soldier. I don't think he was. Did he watch Soldier with us?
No, I did not.
he didn't. He just showed
No.
up with the
Yeah.
knowledge.
I didn't even
Yeah. He
remember the
just
first
knew.
15 minutes.
But anyway, Anuj, did you have a hero growing up when you grew up? You're like, oh fuck this guy. Oh god, whatever.
Um,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, I think I was really into Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh yeah, same.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
just as I was like, the last good movie I remember watching by Shah Rukh Khan that I enjoyed was like My Name is Khan.
Hmm.
And after that, I just watched his old interviews and like the kind of money he's made and the economics of everything. By the time I was 18, I was like,
So basically, when Anuj became an anarchist, he's like, oh fuck this guy.
Yeah. Bad in Bollywood did that for us, one by one,
Yeah, I mean,
one movie after another.
not
It
that I
just
was
stripped our childhood apart.
not that I was too much into these guys by the time I became this old, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a note of, oh fuck these guys.
another
Because
hero
I'm
that
gonna.
like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I lost both of you and I
I
thought
want to
there was
hear.
complete silence of the podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah, so
We
basically,
are back.
the one that I wanted to talk about is something like I used to admire as a character till the age of 20.
okay,
And then had like a huge falling out with the entire like basis of what the character is based on. And Yashasvi would agree because we've talked about this before, is Batman.
yeah, definitely.
Ah, that's a big one. That's a
I was like,
big one. Everyone loves
oh,
Batman as a
yeah,
kid.
I was like, oh, he's so intense. He's got this pain which drives him to, beat up carjackers when he's a billionaire and doesn't understand anything about their struggle. Oh, that's so sexy. And now I'm like, Beti Chod. Yeah, so
But
Batman, that's a good one.
I do think our perception of Batman being such a beloved character is a portrayal of Batman that children were definitely not ready to see in an
Yeah.
animated show.
Oh, that was brilliant though.
Dude, like
Yeah.
that show was brilliant. I have
Yeah,
like as a detective noir show as an adult, I enjoy it.
on Pat. Anyway, like your Batman fans, listeners, I'm just saying, I love Batman the animated series, love the Nolan trilogy. Who the fuck cares about Batman versus Superman? But yeah, Batman as like a concept in general for me is kind of sour.
Anuj likes Batman versus Superman slightly.
I
He
like
does. Look at
Batfleck.
him.
I just like Batfleck. I don't like the movie at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
I understand. Sorry, you were saying?
no. Go ahead.
I understand why you like Batfleck because like he was trying to go for the more like brutal kind of from David Ayer's comics.
Yeah. Like the dark side of Batman when he's gotten
Yeah.
old and like just careless.
Hmm.
Like Dark Knight Returns is the animated series that he was kind of written off of. Was
Yeah.
that one? Yeah.
That's the one.
N- Not to throw shade at the Nolan trilogy because I love the Nolan trilogy,
Oh yeah, we all of us here love the Nolan trilogy, so don't kill us.
Same.
but I'm just gonna say this: everyone holding on to their seatbelts. Dark Knight Rises doesn't hold up super well. I don't like it. I watched it again recently. Huh,
Uh, I
boy,
think
it
I
falls apart.
I'm
I
sorry.
think I know why. Like it's my least favorite of the trilogy, but it's something I
Same.
would watch. I enjoy it. But it
Mhm.
took like 47 minutes exactly to become its own movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very good
And
point. Very good point.
it's coming. See, the Dark Knight, like you can completely disregard Batman Begins and still watch Dark Knight and get everything. But
Yeah,
then that is such a like such a big movie to kind of follow up with. You still stuck in the shadow, and that's what happened for the first half of the movie for
yeah.
me.
I remember the hype. I remember the hype going into Rises because Dark Knight was like a near perfect movie to me. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is it for me. This is cinema. This is what I want to consume. This is how I want to feel when I walk out of a movie. And then I go into Rises, and I knew that I was hyping it up too much because in my head nothing could have lived up to it. Nothing could have. And I feel like I kind of lied to myself. I call it the Spider-Man 3. I Spider-Man 3'd myself because
How
I did
dare
that with
you?
Spider-Man 3. No. I mean, Dark Knight Rises is way better than Spider-Man 3. But just that feeling
I was
of
gonna say Spider-Man 3 is amazing, but yeah, go ahead.
so the thing with Spider-Man 3 was because I like Spider-Man 2 so much, and at the time when it came out, it was my favorite superhero movie. I was like, this Spider-Man 3 has to be good. It has to be good because Spider-Man 2 is, it was so good. And then coming out of Spider-Man 3, I was in denial for a whole week, going, that was good. Yeah, Harry lost his memory totally. Yeah, that makes sense. And then he came back. And then there's like two other villains, and we care about all of them. And then I was like, oh, actually, I need to stop lying to myself and just admit that it's a bad movie. So yeah,
One thing that I'm
Spider-Man
really
3.
surprised with like Dark Knight Rises, especially the 2008 one, uh,
Uh-huh.
like no, the
11,
trilogy
11.
second. 11
Second
is it?
one, Rises is
Yeah.
11, Dark Knight
Night
is
was
8.
2008. Yeah.
Oh, the Dark Knight is 2008. So like,
Yeah.
so I could not picture anybody filling in Mark Hamill's shoes at like when I watched the movie, which was like 4 years later, because I wasn't old
Yeah.
enough to understand Dark Knight when
Mm-hmm.
it came out. I was what 11.
Yeah.
I did love Batman Begins though. That did feel like a kids movie. That was too dark
Oh,
for itself.
Oh
Batman
yeah, I watched that with my dad and he fell
Begins is
asleep.
great. Begins is my favorite origin story. Besides the ending, which is a bit, I wasn't super into it, but like, yeah, Begins is great. Yeah.
Overall,
Go on, you
Christopher
were saying.
Nolan rocks. Please do not kill us. I know he's
Don't
your
kill
god
us.
of cinema, even though
We,
like Kubrick
Lo-
exists.
Nolan,
And
Nolan is cool. Nolan's great, and I think he was my favorite director for a while, and he also had a film where someone said, I go to this planet because love, and I went,
Okay, Nolan
"Yeah,
is good, but have you watched any movies by Mohit Suri? Let's talk about Malang. Hi guys, welcome to Bad in Bollywood. This
we've
podcast
hijacked this podcast. It's now
is
about
about
Malang, which we saw."
Before we jump into Mohit Suri's films, because I know we will at some point now that it's come up.
Yeah.
I am so glad that Christopher Nolan has finally learned color grading because I was getting tired of that blue tint.
I was telling,
what?
I think I brought up Nolan on the Love Ajkal episode, which
Of
is,
course you did.
of
Of
course I did.
course you
What
did.
the
Uh,
fuck?
no, not Nolan specifically, but I was like, remember when every movie was orange and blue for like in Hollywood? And I feel like Nolan was a big part of that, like the blue fucking tint that he brought in. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah, yeah.
Love Ajkal has such a shit filter that I was like missing Nolan's blue.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, not to jump the Mohit Suri gun. I am going back to Mohit Suri. Is Mohit Suri the maker of Jannat?
Yes,
Am
he
I
is.
okay? Just gonna check.
I'm out of my depth here because literally that's the only Mohit Suri I know. It's Malang. So
That's a
Oh,
horrible. That's a horrible one to know him on. Not that he's a good director. I remember liking Jannat, but I won't like it now.
so when people
also,
say, "Oh, not that he's a," you expect like not that he's a bad. He's like, "Oh, not that he's a good director. He's shit." But
But this is like a new low even for him, I think.
yeah,
also Ashiki too, the one movie that made me cry my brains out for being so boring.
Oh,
I
oh, they did
have not.
copy it in A Star Is Born. I will say. They
He
did
copied. What?
They did copy Ashiki 2. Yeah, Ashiki 2 is. I mean, okay, that's a stretch because A Star Is Born is a
It,
1940s movie as well. So
which has
like, I
had
don't
three
know,
other
Ah,
remakes, by the way.
3 other remakes, but for someone my age, all I saw was Ashiki 2 came out, which was about a drunk singer that makes another young singer famous and they fall in love and then he kills himself. Spoilers for Ashiki 2. And
whoa,
then the
what?
same thing happens. And then the same thing happens in A Star Is Born. Sorry,
Wait,
guys. Maybe we
Bradley
should put
Cooper
a
killed him?
disclaimer. Yeah, I know that was a crime because he looked very handsome. Um,
I didn't watch any of those movies. I'm sorry.
I liked A Star Is Born, but it's it's long. It goes on for a while. Yeah.
Speaking of long, how is everyone doing with this lockdown?
Wow. No lockdown questions. I don't
No,
know
no,
it
no. I
exists.
actually had a bunch of lockdown questions lined up. Don't worry, we can go in that direction.
Let's go
Let's
there.
do it. All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's
Okay,
let's
give me.
make this into a therapy session, like a group
Yeah,
therapy.
boy.
Okay, give me
Uh,
speed
Let's.
round.
Speed
Lockdown
round.
speed
I've been reading and listening to music a lot, which is
round.
great.
Uh huh.
I've gotten like my Spotify hours are way off the charts. I've finished like what 9 episodes of Dan Carlin.
Oh wow, 9 episodes. The 6 hour
Damn,
ones.
dude.
Yeah, the 6 hour ones.
Holy
For
shit!
Yeah,
Not
like
he
even the
for
mini,
enough.
not even the mini episodes.
No. Like
305 minutes. I remember you showed this to me.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
next
no,
one I'm on to.
wow. Yeah, but if you guys don't want to invest 6 hours, I would recommend Dan Carlin's episode on the USS Indianapolis. It's a 45-minute episode. So
Hmm.
that's one of my favorite ones, I think.
Ooh, I'm gonna check it out.
But if you do want to spend hours and hours listening to how much suffering was involved in the warfare that we brought into 20th century, I do recommend Blueprint for Armageddon.
Hands down, the best episode.
Best
Oh,
episode.
I know that one. That's the Ben Affleck movie, no? Where they go into space and then Bruce Willis
That's
is there.
Armageddon.
Oh, that's not the one.
That's
That's not
Michael
I
the.
love
Bay,
when he
right?
said he goes into space and Bruce Willis is there, like, and they found Bruce Willis on the moon, like, oh, Bruce, what are you doing?
Bruce, what's up? And he's like, Yippee ki No, that was a different movie. Die
Yeah.
Hard should have been on the moon. Anyway, that's a.
But I
Why
mean,
did
I
they do
think
Don't
Tom
that?
give
Cruise
them
knows.
ideas.
Huh?
Sorry.
Don't give them ideas. Die Hard 5 was bad enough.
Dude,
I mean, Tom Cruise is literally doing a movie in space. So
wait, for real?
yeah, for
Yeah.
real, he's done it with NASA, and they're actually going to shoot a movie in outer space. Now, have I told you guys the story about the Challenger in 1986?
You haven't. Go ahead.
It
I'm
blows up.
aware of. Yeah.
Of course.
This is okay. Someone's gonna clip this up, and it's gonna go you saying the Challenger blows up and me laughing, and it. This is the end for me. In this
Okay,
moment that you
please
have
provide
created.
some context. I'm just saying going in space when you're not a professional astronaut is a bad idea.
Yeah, I watched a movie on the Challenger. It was basically like the Challenger, the investigation after it exploded,
Oh yeah, that's a
and like,
fantastic one. There's an article where they said the slide number 7 when they zero down on like the exact pieces that went wrong when the challenge what made the Challenger explode, and
Mhm.
they zeroed down that there was just one PowerPoint slide number 7, which was responsible for it.
damn.
Shit, dude.
So basically, I think it was a re-entry issue, right?
Yeah, I can't remember what. I mean, I just is the movie accurate? Because I just know it off the movie. I don't know if that's what happened.
It was about the piece of
Um,
foam that clipped the wing, right?
yeah, it was some form. I think it was something to do with condensation. Also, I can't remember what
Condensation on the
specifically.
O-rings that caused.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what caused it. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so lockdown's going great, guys.
lockdown's going great. Tom Cruise, please don't go to space.
I'm going to space.
Tom, I get it.
Huh?
You've transcended all of our expectations when it comes to shooting action
Doing
thrillers.
it on stunts. We get it.
We get it.
Yeah,
Like,
Scientology is real. We get it.
we get it. I accept it on air.
okay, we're going a
Jesus.
little too far. Let's not. I don't want to enable anybody who's even semi-ironically into
Yeah,
Scientology. I
please,
don't want to
please don't
provoke
be
back
insane.
in.
Please, that
But
was a joke
Yeah,
for legal
that was.
reasons. Scientology is a joke.
Oh God.
Oh,
Okay,
God,
a lighter tangent of these action heroes. Yeah, Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis. Who else? Does Keanu fit into the same
I think he does. He does
zone?
a
he does. He does
Yeah.
definitely.
fair few action movies.
Who's done it the best? Who do you rank as your top action hero boy? Top
Pound for
stunt
pound,
man? Yeah,
I think
pound for pound.
P for P
Arnold
rankings.
Schwarzenegger, pound for pound.
No, I was actually going to say Arnold because he kind of ushered in the era of like the G.I. Joe looking fucking action hero.
Hmm.
And he had like complete dominance in that genre of movies for like almost 2 decades.
Yeah,
So like legacy wise, I think yeah, fuck, Arnold is up there.
maybe Anuj Gardner. I
I'm
can't.
gonna go with Uma Thurman.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice.
Oh,
Too
oh,
iconic.
Kill Bill.
Too iconic.
Oh, dude.
You got me there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Wow,
fight sequence, dude.
that is
Best,
insane. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen on like in cinema.
best. Also, the snake, that fucking snake in the trailer, then the coffin, the punch, whatever it's called. What is that punch called when
Punch.
you're buried in a coffin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah,
The one
yeah,
inch punch, is it? I think it's called 1 inch punch.
yeah.
1 inch
One inch.
punch. Yeah, all of us have
Dude,
tried it. We all have tried it.
dude,
Yeah.
iconic, man. And
I
then that the
actually,
kill
which one?
at
Which
the
kill?
end.
There's so many.
The one at the end where she kills Bill. Spoilers for Kill Bill.
She
She
kills Bill in spoiler.
does in fact kill Bill.
Wait,
Spoiler
Ranveer
correct.
Singh dies in it?
What?
Oh no, I'm thinking Kill Dil. Sorry.
Oh wow, we should do Kill Bill. That's another one. Anyway.
Not
Govinda
wild.
and Ranveer Singh along with Ali Zafar.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
But we all tried the 1 inch punch thing. I actually
Never know.
fractured, like I had a hairline fracture on my little finger because I was trying that.
I feel like I still
I've
have
never
like a
had.
scar on my knuckles because of it.
I think I've done it once, and then I was like, nah, it's not. This is not working out.
Because you
It
have
was a
like
quick.
intelligence, you're like, oh, ouch, maybe I don't do that.
I am
But that's
not Uma Thurman, is what I realized.
God, I wish I would do
Which
more.
is
Same.
yeah. So do Fallout Boy, because then they have that fucking
Yeah, she
song.
wants to dance like
Is
Uma
she has a
Thurman.
fucking dude? She has a song named. I think she's one. Like she has a
Easily.
song that's named after her. That's great.
Like,
You know. I mean, Fallout Boy not always good. Not always
How
good.
dare you? The Mission
But
Impossible
you know,
2 theme, Karan. Don't
wait, was that
was
them?
that Fall Out Boy?
no, that wasn't Fall Out Boy.
Who was that? It was Fall
Oh,
Out Boy
damn.
sounding band.
I'm not sure.
Oh
Hold
yeah. I
on.
mean, there's so many. Every punk rock band
Pop punk.
at the time.
Who was it?
Pop punk, yeah.
Oh god, I won't be able to sleep.
Did I?
I'd love if Thanks for the Memories was just playing while Tom Cruise is fucking hanging off a cliff
I'm sorry, you didn't pronounce
in
that
Mission
right.
Impossible 2.
Oh, it was Limp Bizkit, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was
Thanks
Limp
for the
Bizkit.
mum.
It
Yeah,
was Limp Bizkit.
Ah,
God, I
thanks for
can't.
the mummers. How
there
you
you go,
say it,
Karan.
Anuj?
That's how you say it.
Sorry.
That's
Thanks
how
for
it's
the
supposed.
mummers.
Thanks for the
Um,
minutes.
uh, Limp
Okay.
Bizkit is also Triple H's like no, not Triple H. Do you remember Stone Cold and Rock had that match? Do you
No,
remember this?
probably not.
Okay. Limp Bizkit did a bunch of music for WWE. Like they were cool. They were barely cool. But when they
Oh,
were in the
come on,
2000s,
I enjoyed Limp Bizkit.
No, I hated Limp
My
Bizkit from the
Way,
bottom of
dude,
my
My
heart.
Way, My Way is like my favorite song by them, and the only one that I
Uh,
know.
I remember very
That's
clearly when Lemmy from Motorhead, I think the entire band of Motorhead, like Motorhead
Mm.
with the they came out and they did Triple H's entrance
Triple
music
H's entrance. Yeah,
for one of the
they did
WrestleMania.
an interview. They did an interview with Lemmy and Triple H, just like hanging out.
Yeah, Lemmy
It's
was
out
cool.
there. It exists. Yeah, he was cool. Yeah,
So I'll need to check it out actually. My WWE
yeah.
knowledge is quite limited.
I know
Uh,
everything. Ask me
yes,
questions.
like literally you can ask Karan anything about wrestling and he'll tell you.
I just watched the wrestling show today, where I sent you guys this link. A dude on a horse chased someone on a American football field.
Yeah, I
This
saw.
happened in wrestling.
Well, fair.
Wrestling is better than the thing that you like.
You know,
And John
sometimes
Oliver.
I'm scared
Thanks for
Karan's
that.
gonna ditch bad Bollywood and start a wrestling podcast.
Wrestling podcast? Oh, 100%. I want to watch some like a bad wrestling movie. So, do you guys know Hogan? Do you have any idea about Hogan's like movie career? Like when
I, I
he
Hulk Hogan?
besides
I've
Rocky, besides Rocky,
I've seen it mentioned in memes in passing about like that one really over the top weird role that he had.
Same.
No Holds Barred.
Yeah,
There's
that's
No
a good
Holds
one.
Barred. Yeah, where he says Dookie,
Yeah, that's the one.
because someone shat themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is iconic. Hulk Hogan has had some of the worst movies in existence. One of which, um, him and Vince McMahon wrote in a hotel room in 48 hours, doing allegedly a bunch of cocaine, which is
Isn't
amazing.
that how movies are written?
I Huh?
Isn't that how movies are written in general?
That's how you gotta write them.
Drugs. Drugs is how movies are
Hotel
written. Everybody knows this.
drugs. Yeah. And they produced No Holds Barred. It's just
Wow.
everyone should
Did
watch
you
that
did you
movie.
actually
Yeah.
sit and watch that movie?
I've seen honestly, I've seen like bits and pieces. I've not been able to sit through the whole thing. It is quite unwatchable. It feels like a fever dream, honestly. Doesn't feel like a real movie.
To be honest, I find it very
Anyway.
interesting how masochism manifests in like generations in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'm
Uh-huh.
certain that the reason Karan has an entire podcast about bad movies, watching them and then talking shit about them is the experience of masochism. I'm convinced. You will never
Yeah.
convince me otherwise.
We're opening up
I
now.
think
Okay.
I think one of the things, like, not to get am I gonna give like a serious follow-up to this? Oh god. But like one of the reasons we do this podcast, I think, or at least I do it, is because when I walk out of a movie, there's nothing better. So watching a good movie is amazing, right? You watch a great movie, you say a few words about it, you're like, hey, that was a good movie. Everyone's like, yeah, we agree, that was a great movie. That scene was good, that one scene was good. But was walking out of a bad movie with your friends is incredible. It it is incredible because there'll be someone at Yashasvi who's distraught, who is
I
who is
Yeah.
broken down
Yeah.
by the movie.
Yashasvi after Bagi 3 was, dear God.
Oh
I was
my
so certain
god!
somebody was gonna get hurt in that car back home.
I
Oh
I
my
don't
god!
I don't respond as well to bad movies as well as Karan does, I think. But yeah.
There's some. Everyone's got their movie, which is what I love. Everyone's got a movie that'll break them. Like everyone's got one. Like I think for me, Hasina Manjagi was just as bad. Like I was broken. I think Love Ajkal was horrible. Like I couldn't sit through it. Like there are some movies that everyone finds like their breaking point, and other bad movies you can just watch. Like I could watch Bagban
Oh yeah,
anytime.
Bhagwan I could watch again. I
Love
could watch
Bagban.
Malang again, honestly. Like it's
Yeah,
not
Malang's not Malang. I
but
could watch again.
it's
Yeah,
interesting that you point out that how masochism kind of manifests in generations. Like a lot of combat sports can be considered a
yeah.
certain masochism that it takes place.
Definitely.
Yeah. And interest in combat sports are Karan, which is wrestling.
That's not a wrestling. Wrestling is. I've told you already. It's soap opera and spandex. That's what it is. And you get hurt. You get hurt sometimes. That's
That
actually
is true.
you get hurt all the time, but it's planned, which it makes it even worse. Like
Much worse.
you both agreed कि हाँ यहाँ से कूदना है. I'm gonna fall on my back. It's gonna hurt, but we're still gonna do it. What? What is wrong with these people? I love them. Anyway, moving on.
Uh, this is gonna hurt. What is wrong with these people? I love them. Traditional masculinity in 3 sentences.
Ooh. I mean,
Oh
I don't
God,
expect you to call Karan out about being toxically
that's
masculine.
my toxic masculine
I mean, I said traditional
thing.
masculinity. I didn't say toxic masculinity. Toxic
Okay,
is like when it's
Yeah.
done without like self-awareness.
that's true. Okay.
Oh
Like,
boy, should we just get into toxic masculinity? Fuck it, let's burn the internet. Let's just do it. You wanna talk about it?
I mean, I kind of don't want to talk about it because it's a conversation that people are not ready to listen to online.
Yeah,
Quite a
that's
few
true.
people are not. Like, it's a conversation that they would like to get into on their own terms, and I feel like we'll just be adding fuel to the fire by like talking amongst ourselves instead of people who
Yeah,
want to be represented in a conversation like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's something to be said about when you grow up, and I'm not getting into toxic masculinity, but just like unlearning stuff when you're older. So like when the fabric of who you are is built on certain things, like you have, let's say I've learned ABCD, and someone told me like, no, B is not ball, B is dog or something like that. I'll be like, kaise? I don't
Yeah.
agree. My
Unlearning is always painful because, like, again, it's like your foundations are rocked. You're like, oh, fuck, now what?
Have you guys read
yeah,
about cognitive dissonance?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
basically
my
like
it's my I love that word. It's
mhm,
not quite juxtaposition, but it's
Karan's
up there.
favorite word is
I love
juxtaposition.
juxtaposition.
My
But
God,
yeah,
you would
anyway,
make love to that word if you could.
I would, I
definitely.
would.
And you know what? I see it.
Anyway, you were saying
Yeah,
cognitive dissonance.
basically cognitive dissonance is the discomfort you feel when you observe something and believe something else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So every time there is new information that is provided that is against your like conventional belief,
mm,
and it is an observation you make in society, it just makes you like frustrated, which is why you tend to ignore it, and you feed into the
yeah,
confirmation bias where you overvalue the information which supports your belief and undervalue the information that doesn't support your belief.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Is
Yeah,
trolling a manifestation of that?
could be, not necessarily.
Hmm.
Trolling, I do maintain that trolling is an art reserved for extremely important internet policing from unwanted behavior, and I don't
yeah.
want it to go away, but definitely it manifests into that.
I mean,
Like,
Karan and I welcome trolls with open arms,
God,
honestly.
we love our trolls.
Fucking
same,
love
same.
trolls.
One of the things, I'm just gonna preface this with a trigger warning
Go
because
ahead.
some of the stuff that I want, and you can edit this out if it's too intense. But there was a Japanese wrestler. She committed suicide a couple days ago. This came out, and one of the conversations that came out of that on Twitter was like, "Hey, online bullying is bad, right?" And I mean, we all, I mean, that's kind of a given, right? Online bullying is
Yeah,
bad,
all of us
but I
agree.
think, one of the things that they painted it with that brush, a lot of wrestlers that are not nice people online that go after fans and things like that kind of tweeted out that blanket tweet of like, oh, this, don't hate people and things like that. And I think there is so much more to her story that is based in like culture and the conversations about mental health and stuff like that, where everything kind of got painted with one brush of like online bullying, wherein I think there was more to it. But a lot of people latched onto that, going like, the internet is bad. And while I agree that there are parts of the internet and there is sort of harassment online, and there is that culture of like, you like a thing, so I'm going to put you down for liking the thing. There is also like, I think that doesn't excuse horrible behavior by people online. Like no one's like averse to criticism, right? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But yeah, but I think that it became a wave that everyone latched onto, like even complete dicks that went, oh yeah, we get a lot of hate too, which is
because they
people just
they can,
calling them out on their stuff. Yeah,
yeah, they can paint like criticism, valid criticism, with the same brush of like online
yeah,
bullying. Suddenly the
yeah,
criticism that's valid, to a certain degree, gets painted with the same
yeah,
brush of like, oh, you're bullying me, or you're harassing me online.
yeah.
But
And what one of the
also
uh,
the meme
go ahead.
culture that comes out of trolling or bullying, like how fuck, I hate turning it back to Bollywood, but it always fucking happens with me and the channel. But like the whole Ananya Pandey I know struggle thing, it was a funny meme. It was funny while it lasted, but she did get like a lot of undue harassment also, I think.
Yeah, yeah, she did. It got out of hand.
If you look at like internet's history in general, that's a thing that some people just tend to do with everything. Like even with like benign humor, they'll just take it too far, take it to a place where it's not necessary, take it to a place where it's clearly unacceptable to do things.
Hmm.
Yeah,
For example, like if you've seen Internet Explorer's work,
Yeah.
yeah, like he always talks about this meme that started as an online party for trolling somebody, just having fun at somebody's expense. That was harmless at the beginning,
Hmm.
and then it goes into death threats and doxing and swatting. Like that's how far this goes, and there is harassment
uh,
that's also mental health related. Like people get kicked off of public threads which are accessible to everybody for being themselves. And
yeah, it's
I mean,
horrible.
the way it sounded, I've not done in-depth research on the person who unfortunately killed themselves recently,
Mm.
but at least from what I heard, it sounds like that's what used to happen to this person. She was a negative character as well uh,
Yeah, in her act.
in her act,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
people basically used to take that out on the real person.
yeah. That tends to happen, which is
And
so
like
bizarre.
exactly, like
Yeah,
if you start getting painted as evil for doing your job right, like if
yeah.
Joffrey also got death threats, by the
Yeah,
way.
Joffrey got
Yeah,
a lot of shit. The poor guy,
he
like,
he quit for a while.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like he
and
was out. Yeah.
exactly, he was such a brilliant actor. Like
brilliant,
He
brilliant
was
acting.
he was amazing. He was
because
amazing.
and that's where I think the area that is unacceptable lies of trolling,
Yeah,
that you make the person believe that they're genuinely evil because of the things they portray for the camera.
yeah. It is truly awful, and like there is no accountability on the internet, right? Like someone can just say a horrible thing and get away with it. So, and that impact stays with the person.
Hmm.
Like it's not like your friend saying it to you and you're able to like talk to them. It just is, and then you feel alone. And one of the other things that I was thinking about, and it's kind of stayed with me, is because this is going to sound like a bizarre tangent, but I've been watching The Bachelor. There's this, it's happening.
You have,
Everyone accept it. I've
yeah,
been watching The Bachelor. And so the way it goes, so it is a reality show. And that I've realized, I think I'm more aware than ever that they need a narrative for every episode. And because otherwise, a show with like 20 women with a bland dude can get pretty boring. And so they need like a villain, like one of the girls has to be like the evil crazy person,
hmm,
and one person needs to be like all over the place. And I realized that reality shows, because this wrestler, she was also on Terrace House, which is a Japanese reality show that I used to watch as well. And you get put in a pigeonhole as this person even on reality TV, and the kind of abuse you get because it's painted under the reality TV brush, because now everyone's like, that's not a character, that's you, right?
yeah,
When it's clearly the show trying to get that to be the narrative. and that's its own kind of destructive thing, I think. Like, not acknowledging, because it's under the umbrella of reality TV, people going like, oh, that person's bad because they're just being themselves and they're still bad, you know?
I see, like that adds even more culpability on the side of the show itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Like
absolutely. Yeah.
the ethics of giving somebody a script to pretend to be fake on something that is actually put under the banner of real, that is actively misleading at least the younger people in the audience.
So
Yeah.
that's my issue with reality TV in general, because like don't call it reality TV then, right? Just
Call
paint
it
it.
drama TV. It's
Just
fine.
call it drama. It's fine because people are still going to watch it. You're not going to
Yeah.
lose viewers based on the fact that maybe some of it is scripted. I mean,
Yeah,
people
people are still gonna watch.
watch roadies are going to watch roadies for whatever the fuck reason. But
Oh god, roadies, dude. Holy shit.
fuck, you guys remember
Wow.
roadies?
Hated roadies. After
He,
like
he-
after roadies 9 though. I was okay till roadies
Oh,
9.
you lasted till roadies 9.
that's
Jesus.
like that's like me saying, oh, I don't like, fucking Grey's Anatomy really sucked. I really fell out after season 7.
I mean, that's me with Game of Thrones, right? Because Game of Thrones was
Yeah,
great till season 4 and 5, and after that, don't get me started, please. I'm gonna
let's
go
not
off.
get into game.
All of us will cry tears of sadness,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
that will
but
happen for the rest of the podcast.
that is
here's the thing with not just Game of Thrones, but shows that end badly, they kind of disappear. Like, people just stop talking about them. Like, the
yeah,
only conversations are between us about how Game of Thrones is just never gonna be. I feel like its pop culture impact was significantly weakened after
definitely.
season 8.
No
Like,
one's
it just
talking
became
about
not
it.
part of the conversation. Yeah, it wasn't part of the conversation anymore. And those showrunners have also done Lost, which is another show that I watched. I binge watched much later, way after its peak. And that's another show that just started off really well. One of the best pilot episodes I've ever seen. And honestly, I've never seen a show fall off a cliff more, including Game of Thrones. This Lost falls
Wow,
off such a high cliff. It
that's a
is,
high mark.
yeah, dude, and it's the same dude, same writer.
David Benioff,
The other guy, what's his name? Dan.
Dan, something, fuck him.
Yeah, that guy, that guy.
Again,
David Dan.
this is not no one. Please don't go bully them or anything.
I can't
Yeah,
believe we
this is.
have to like clarify that.
Yeah, but yeah, I understand. Like the your cultural significance is hinged a lot on how you wrap up a show. Because
Yeah,
is The Walking Dead over now? I don't really know.
I don't think it is.
Okay, but
It's
people are
gotten
still
bad.
talking about The Walking Dead, even though it's bad. People still talk about Friends, and I don't want to go there because I get a lot of hate. Fuck it, I'll go there. I hate Friends.
no one told you that was gonna be so white. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
and How I Met Your Mother ended badly according to a lot of people.
Oh my
Dude, season 8,
god.
season 9. I could feel
Oh,
aging.
Yeah,
there's a there's an episode. There's an episode. I know the episode where I realized that I've been wasting my time watching the show. I think it was called The Beekeeper or something. And the
Yeah.
episode is about like timeline. It's like a timeline based episode, but none of the jokes were funny. So all this clever setup they were trying to do, like someone runs out with like bees swarming around him, and then I don't even remember. But I remember not watching the show for like the next 3 weeks because I was watching week to week at this point.
wow.
Because you're like, you just want to know. And by the way, I never went back and watched those episodes because it didn't matter at that point. It just didn't matter. They. Do you think? Do you think they knew what the ending was when they
They
started the show?
they did because they recorded that ending when the show started in its pilot, and they made those two actor kids sign an NDA. So they
Damn.
definitely, I think that's what happened, right? Like I'm gonna get into this a bit. They wrote this ending that might have made sense in season one, but like
Yeah.
when a show grows organically out of the story that you've written, you have to like kind of adapt to it because even in Breaking Bad, they wanted to kill Jesse off in season one.
Yeah.
And when they saw like the job that Aaron Paul did, they're like, we can't do that because he's almost the lifeblood of the show. And they altered the script to fit like a narrative that would be better for the show. Same thing with Scrubs. Janitor was supposed to be a fig, sorry, a fig,
Pigment. Yeah.
figment of JD's imagination, but I think I keep forgetting his name. The actor
Neil something.
Neil Flynn.
I think Neil Flynn. Yeah.
Neil Flynn did such a good job. They wrote him into the rest of the season. I mean, all the other seasons. So again, like the writers in How I Met Your Mother, I think they had this ending that they had envisioned in season one, and they wanted to hold on to it. But like when they clearly saw like the mother's doing a good job of the story has grown so much over the seasons that you can write an alternative ending to it. They just didn't want to.
Yeah. It's a
Again, not
shame.
that I like How I Met Your Mother. Fuck that show too.
Actually,
Yeah.
saw it because like, I saw the humor grow sour like as I grew older.
It's season 5 ka middle point. It's not the same show.
Yeah,
Everything from
definitely.
that point on is not the same show. There are moments, but I think season 8 was just like abhi gaya. Matlab, now it's gone completely. I'm watching entire episodes without chuckling once. This is not good. Um, but yeah, I like that we've transitioned from don't hate stuff to instantly criticizing two shows back to back.
I
Um,
mean, would that's
At
what
this
we
point, our
do.
audience has got to ask, like, do you guys like anything?
I do like
I
music.
I like Breaking Bad. We talked about Breaking Bad. Love Breaking Bad.
Love Breaking
Um,
Bad.
love me some Breaking Bad. Alright, okay, Yashasvi. This is yeah, cool.
Shut up,
That's not
Yashasvi. Such a good
yeah.
show.
I have
It's
not said a word. How dare you?
you know what's weird about Breaking Bad though? One thing that I've noticed is it is the kind of show where either you just don't get into it or you fucking adore it. Like there is no in between. That's what I've realized with it. It just
I'll
that's how it exists.
I'll say this about Breaking Bad, like because of the way the show's directed and like portrayed, you can see that like the director is going for a slow burner approach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So there is literally moments like literally 5 minutes of just silence on the screen, nothing's
yeah,
happening, and that's
that's a ballsy move.
that's a ballsy move, and
yeah.
that's difficult for an audience that's used to like constant fucking attention. Like me and Yashas were talking about this the other day. 6ix9ine released his new song.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
Oh
my
literally
God.
yeah.
loud colors, loud noises, flashy lights all across the screen. It's just like pay attention to me right now. Pay attention to this screen. I have you for 2 minutes. I
Yeah.
need to give everything I have right here, right now. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what I'm
I
saying. It's just
I know you think I hate Breaking Bad, but I've rewatched it a few times and I actually kind of like it. I really enjoyed El Camino though.
yeah,
Like
dude, El
I
I
was
haven't
Camino
watched it
is
yet.
I
actually
would
really
rewatch
good.
El Camino. It's
It's actually
fantastic.
yeah. They took all the good bit, like whatever the essence of
Yeah.
Breaking Bad is, and they made it into a movie. I feel like there was a danger of it becoming a movie that no one wanted, and then they got
That's
and
what
didn't
I
like
was
it.
hoping it wouldn't
Um,
be because when they announced
but
it, I
and
was like,
it was,
what the fuck is going on?
and if Jesse is your favorite character, because Jesse was always my like the most. I was most invested in how his life would turn out because he is the only good person probably in the
Yeah.
show.
He comes the
Um,
closest to a good
um,
person, like a conscious person anyway.
Yeah, I guess besides Walt's
Yeah.
son, yeah, and yeah, and oh, I mean, not to like completely switch lanes, but Skylar is another character like Joffrey
Oh, she got a
who
lot of hate.
got she was actually the most hated character on TV that I knew
Wow.
at the time. Like I was like yeah, and I when I was rewatching Breaking Bad, I went, oh, but if my husband did these things, I would fucking act the same way. Like I get Skylar completely. Like I'm one of those people that's like, yeah, your husband is not a great person,
It's all about like
and
the
you're
the,
lashing
the
out.
bias of being a protagonist, right? Because even in BoJack, he does. I
Yeah,
love BoJack; it's such a good show, but he does so much reprehensible stuff, and that's the point of the show. But you're still rooting for him because he's the
yeah,
protagonist.
yeah. It's like that with
Yeah.
Walt
So
as
if
well.
Walt was seen from another
Because
lens, like maybe from his son's perspective, if you show to show whether dad just goes completely off the rails, becomes a drug lord, and like kills a bunch of people, you would see him through the lens of a villain.
yeah,
If you just
but you're
so
with
that
him.
it seems Skylar had a point.
Whole point of the show was Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, You are, yeah. The thing is like, but you don't know. Like you're so invested in his character that you don't know when his switch happens and when he's now not a great person.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're still rooting for him.
And
You're still
yeah,
hoping.
that's the point of a slow burn. I think that's why it was a slow burn, because like the development of the character was,
there's
yeah,
some high points in that show that just get you. Like, you're like
Oof.
totally worth it. I
Yeah.
sat through so much shit of him just like looking at a fly and like chewing with his mouth closed and things like that. And like it explodes in these bits, especially his
Oh
breakdown when there's no
God.
money underground. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Oh
paid off.
dude.
That properly paid off.
Hard. I think like one of the favorite scenes is when I think everything with Hank.
Oh,
Like that actor is so good. There's a scene I think where he's just been. I think he's just recovered from the hospital. He'd been almost killed, I think,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's kind of sitting there, and it's one of those scenes like you're talking about, those silences, and he doesn't say much for about 2 minutes, and then he just goes, "I don't think I can. I don't know if I can keep doing this anymore." Like he's talking to his wife, like, "I don't know. I'm scared." And I was like, "Holy fuck!" That was one of those like, this show is different. This is not. They let you feel his like anxiety and doubt and all this kind of shit. And I was like, they don't do that in shows about cool cops. Like he's supposed to be badass. And when he went, "I'm scared," I was like, "Oh god, great, okay, I'm invested now, you dicks."
Just random trivia about this show, like Hank especially.
Mm,
He's one of the cops that
mm.
invades the what's the company that makes Skyrim? Not Skyrim, Skynet in
I thought
Terminator.
it was called Skynet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have no idea.
basically Skynet from Terminator 2.
I've only
Okay, yeah, yeah,
So the
yeah
company that make like Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor and her son along with Arnold are going and like destroying
yeah.
the cops that
yeah.
like the cops that storm into the building.
Mm-hmm.
Hank is the lead cop.
Oh,
No.
whoa, yeah, dude. This dude has been in so many other things as like a side guy.
Yeah, just a side
He's
cop.
one of those people. The side cop. He's one of those people. Like, when I remember when I watched Gangs of Wasipur and I saw Rajkumar Rao and I went, "What? He was here the whole time?" He's one of those where you're like, you've seen him before, you just don't. You're like, he's. I saw this. I saw someone say, and this is really mean, and I don't mean it to be mean because I love Hank, but he's like snap finger famous. So like when you're like, "Arey wo kaun hai wo," when you're
Yeah,
like
that guy.
snapping your
Yeah,
finger.
yeah,
So like snap finger famous is a term that I discovered, and there's so many people like that are not important to the story, so you're not paying attention to them,
Like
and
the
then
lead in
suddenly
Papa
they'll
Love.
pop out. And stuff. Yeah, same. I was like, "Who's that dude? I know this guy." Um,
But
Pata looks great, by the
Anuj, I
way.
wanted
You
to
should watch it.
discuss this with you as well. How you said he's Breaking Bad throughout the course of the series,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and even after it's done, and the writers intend for you to not root for him, people are still rooting for him. So you have a protagonist who has these bad characteristics, but since he's the protagonist, people aspire to be like him. And we've seen that in Fight Club, we've seen that in Rick and Morty, we've seen that in like a lot of shows.
Mm.
So like, how would you go about portraying a character who you want people to be like, don't be like that, but as a protagonist?
I've quite like especially since we had a conversation about this a little bit earlier. Like I think there was a casual conversation we had like 4 months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
that. I sort of feel like what people look for in a character or look up to more and more is power. Like I have never seen a person who admires, say, Rick from Rick and Morty, because clearly
Mm.
Rick is a shit person.
Yeah,
He's a person
Yeah.
who doesn't believe in like taking care of his own mental health at some point. Like Pickle Rick,
mm.
the most memed and one of the biggest fan favorites in the
Funniest shit I've
community.
ever seen.
Funniest shit I ever seen, definitely, without a doubt. Uh, that episode sort of crystallizes in how Rick subjects himself to trauma and punishes himself to give time for himself to heal because it's boring. and that's what happens when you achieve godlike power. So it's trying to
Yeah.
start this very intelligent conversation in your face, and you just do what Rick does as the toxic person he is, where he just ignores all of it, and he actually avoids the healthcare of the people that are supposed to be at the center of society, that is the children, and just go drinking.
Basically, yeah.
I
So
mean, so no, go ahead.
basically, I feel like when these slow burn, very interesting things happen about taking charge, or like Breaking Bad, or just very morally. I'm sorry, my phone was listening to me. Yeah, that's the
Well,
thing that
that's all
happens.
of us.
My
Anyway,
phone's too stupid to listen to me, so I'm good.
F. I mean, for me, not for you. Anyway, so the thing that I keep centering around is that you can't tell people what to admire or what to hate in a person. You can just do things that you despise through a person, or like give them the power to have those same things. I feel like if somebody was spoon feeding me the message that evil bad,
You'd reject it instantly. Yeah.
I'd reject it
Yeah.
instantly, right? Like I want to be able to reach that conclusion as well.
To go off of that, like, so because I watch. Oh God, this has been such a wrestling heavy episode. I am so sorry. But essentially, pro wrestling is so simple in its telling. It's always good versus evil. And what tends to happen with wrestling fans is that like they usually boo the good guy, like John Cena or like Roman Reigns, or there's all these good guys that they're like, oh, we don't like that guy. And someone was trying to figure out why is it that people cheer for bad guys? Why do we root for? And it's because in a narrative, good guys believe in stuff and bad guys want
Yeah.
stuff. And wanting stuff is more dynamic and it's more doing, whereas believing in stuff is more passive as a character. So like you will relate with the bad guy because he is going after things and that feels like something is happening. So you're excited when they're on screen. It's kind of like Padmavat when Shahid Kapoor's character is just like he believes in stuff and you're like, all right, get off my screen. But because Ranveer is like going after things, you're like, oh, that guy. I get that guy. Even if the thing he wants is bad, you're hooked now. You want to know what he's gonna do to get it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Walt as well, right? Walt is a good guy at the surface of it when it starts, but he clearly wants things. And he's clearly, and so you're hooked onto him now, and you don't know it yet. You don't know that he's gonna take you down whatever path he does. So that I think that's what's interesting.
I
Relatability is very important.
Yeah,
Mm.
I sort of have like a historical background to this as to what these writers have definitely read. At least for Rick and Morty, I know that they have read this because I can see very blatantly in their artwork.
Mhm.
They just ingrain that in the script sometimes. But on the other hand, like with Breaking Bad, they don't so much do that. Like, have you guys read Nietzsche?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Friedrich Nietzsche talks a lot about envy,
Mhm.
Mm.
and he goes as far as to say that religion and compassion are motifs given by society to control, to manage their own envy, and
Mm.
to like sort of justify their angst against the powerful.
Okay.
But the truth remains that given the chance, all of them would take the chance to be the powerful and give away humility the first chance that they get.
This was in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, I think,
Yeah,
right?
this was in Thus Spoke
Yeah.
Zarathustra.
Yep, that one. I know that one. Yeah.
It's a pretty good read, I would say.
It is a very
Oh,
interesting
I should
read,
check it out.
Yeah.
Mm.
and it is very interesting that the ultimate villains of our history, at least modern history, uh, the Nazis, read this and
Mhm.
take it to be the powerful and wipe out anybody who's not white, blonde, and blue eyes.
Yeah. That was literally
Oof.
like Nazi literature at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, not like Hitler draws straight parallels from like this Austrian eccentric man in the hills writing about all of this. Nietzsche's sister, who was also a very staunch anti-Semite, might have helped in shaping this narrative in his perception of literature.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, it's
Mm.
commentary on how we feel inside and how we refuse to accept the way we feel, and it's commentary on honesty, at least to me. I don't know how it translates to everybody else, but it,
Mm.
especially when it happens to characters from Breaking Bad or Wolf of Wall Street, you really question, like, is megalomania what we have been glorifying and nothing has changed?
Oh,
Because
but
these artists
even
are not doing anything
Yeah.
different.
even in when you're trying to show the ill effects, or like, in the end, I mean, it does come to bite a lot of the characters in the ass in the story itself. But what you latch on to is like they actually achieved what they'd set out to do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick is all powerful, all knowing in his fucking universe or whatever the fuck. And you have Walter, who did become very successful in what he did, and you have Tyler Durden, who did successfully fuck up a lot of shit. And
Yeah.
what your main takeaway is not that like his behavior was not rewarded. It was like briefly he was rewarded for it, and
Yeah.
outlying circumstances kind of messed that up for them.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. I've had a conversation with someone about Scarface, right? And the feeling, the takeaway sometimes with movies of like a rise to power story, which is I mean, I don't think Scarface was Martin Scorsese, but Martin Scorsese loves that story, right? Like the rise to power and then the fall and that
Done
kind of
that.
stuff.
He's done that like what, 18, 19 times now?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, every movie. But the thing is, like, some people's takeaway is not key. Don't do this. Some people's takeaway is like, oh, but if I'm just smarter about it, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Scarface.
because he did that one thing because he was an idiot there. If he had killed that one person, he would have been fine. But it's never that. Like that's not the point. But sometimes that's the takeaway.
Yeah. I think Scarface was Brian De Palma, the
Ah,
director. Yeah.
May I just add another literary like person to this list where, and I genuinely hate this. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this at least on 2 occasions with everybody I've met.
I
Uh,
feel like I know what's coming.
yeah. So
Give me.
Ayn Rand.
Oh yeah,
So
Yeah.
that it is.
Ayn Rand thought, I'm so sorry, guys. This is happening again.
No, I'm on board. I'm glad we got here. I'm glad we did.
But Ayn Rand's literature sort of suggests that the world is not grateful enough to the powerful who pave the way for their own development.
Hmm.
And you see Adrian White from The Watchmen, who's a character who does the same thing. Like, his behavior for being all powerful, all knowing is not rewarded. He's a human caring for humans, almost godlike,
Yeah.
but nobody treats him with the respect that a god deserves.
Yeah. The
Which
And
the
leads,
poor
yeah,
God.
it leads to the question: is Ayn Rand a simp?
big time.
Damn.
I mean, not for
That's
not
the thing.
for not
No, go
for
ahead.
Ronald Reagan though, because she was definitely not into Reagan.
Oh yeah, that's famous.
Uh,
The one man who at her time in America was embodying everything that she was saying, she hated him the most.
wow.
Kind of ironic.
Very ironic.
The Didn't we talk about the Rorschach thing related? Yashasvi, didn't we have that conversation about Rorschach and how like it was written to be like a this
Disgust.
character this character is gross and disgusting, but then the takeaway was, oh, he's cool. And so
Yeah.
like I think the writer was like, people come up to me and say, we find him really cool, Rorschach, and they were like, yeah, cool. I'm glad you feel that way, but like stay away from me.
Yeah,
Uh,
the writer of Watchmen said that. It's not just us.
No, because Rorschach is supposed to be like a dirty, dingy character who's got an
but he became
unnecessary, like, crazy sense of morality.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost delusional.
Never compromise even in the face of Armageddon. That's his whole shtick.
You're saying internet forums latched onto that character?
Yeah,
No,
he's chaotic
no
good.
way.
Manifest and fight themselves.
Yeah,
And to be honest, that's why he was my favorite part of Watchmen.
Oh yeah, character
yeah.
and like to watch him and Dr. Manhattan was kind of like okay, cool, but yeah, Rorschach was fun to watch in that movie, I think.
Rorschach is like more realistic Batman.
Yeah.
Like he is. That's what he is. Like that's who Batman would be if
More
the rose
realistic,
tinted
less sexy Batman.
less sexy. More sexy depending on what you're into. Uh,
Isn't
yeah.
he homeless in the series?
He is.
Yeah, he's more like vigilante, like not rich. If Batman wasn't rich and wa- didn't shower, no, I'm kidding. That
If Batman was a true crimes episode,
yeah, yeah.
Batman was a true crimes episode. Yashasvi Shukla 2020.
Cool.
I'm gonna get killed.
Anyway, the one last thing that I really wanted to discuss, because I don't want to end on like how we're a megalomaniac society that's ending towards a pandemic. Um,
Oh, I thought there was a positive ending. Anyway,
I just want to talk about any new music you guys might be listening to.
Uh, yeah,
man.
really put us in a spot there.
Carly Rae Jepsen's album Emotion. I've gone back and listened to it. It might be a perfect album. It might
I
be the perfect pop
I don't
album.
think I've heard Carly Rae Jepsen's songs. I'm sorry.
Actually, not bad, to be honest.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not saying this as like a dig
Yeah,
at. I genuinely
but
find her music
we
very
do like it.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Call Me Maybe is overplayed and annoying, right? But like she's got good songs. I think she's like I I like she's generic pop music in many ways, but like all the good stuff, like
Uh-huh.
a good 4 chord song that hits right. That's Kali Rae Jepsen. That's her
I've been
music.
listening to like this African folk artist. He's called Baba Mal. It's pretty good. I really
I
like
wish
it.
I wish she had gone first so that I didn't start with Kali Rae Jepsen.
And there's this other guy. I can't fucking pronounce his name, but something Traore. He's really good. He's also pretty
Oh, I think you mentioned.
yeah,
Yeah.
really good African folk stuff, which I've been listening to lately.
There's a okay. This is more. I feel like if Madhvi was on, she would plug this. But Fiona Apple's latest album is
Oh, so
incredible.
good.
Oh, dear
Fetch the
God.
Bolgato is so
Kolkata
good.
is fantastic.
I
Every
cannot
song.
recommend it enough.
It's like it may be her best stuff. And how long has she been doing this? Like, that's incredible. And she was like gone for a while,
Yeah, around
And
Gone
what,
she
for a
was like,
11,
while.
eight
Half a decade.
she was
years?
like, she was like, I'm gonna wait till all of you are at home, and just to drop this on you. You're
Fucking
not
ruined.
fucking ready. And fair enough.
What
It was
about
great.
you? Have you been?
I've been, well, listening to some of the old Trent Reznor projects.
Oh,
Yeah, and
love me some Trent Reznor.
I've been binging big time on Mogwai.
Oh, did you end up watching Mogwai live?
Yeah, 2015. I told you about it.
Okay.
Like
Ah,
Oh
Mogwai
damn.
was the first post-rock act that I ever saw live in my entire life.
were we there together? Oh my God, wow.
Wow, were we at the same concert?
We were at the same concert 5 years ago.
Holy shit!
Whoa. Okay,
That's
that's a different. You guys should do an episode on that. I think I'm just saying.
I mean, I always
Document your
wanted to do like
experiences.
always wanted to do a podcast on like post-rock music in general and why it's such a niche,
hmm
because a very particular audience listens to post-rock and like they're very consistent.
That's true. Post rock is the most loyal fan base, I think, and kind of they're not. It's not like a very toxic fan base either.
Yeah, everybody just keeps to themselves and like asks how's like nice tan, how's the kids? Like that's the kind of fan base it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, pop music is the same. Just kidding. Lana Del Rey hates everyone.
I
I'm
would
kidding.
also like Moonshake is pretty good if anyone wants to get into post rock. Moonshake's a good place to start.
Same with Explosions in the Sky, by the way.
Oh yeah, fucking love that.
Oh, is that the one you sent me?
Yeah, that's the one I sent you.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, dude, I was into that. Look at that.
And
My knowledge of post
also
rock has gone up.
Russian Circles. That's my last one, I think.
Oh, Russian Circles is beautiful.
Yeah.
I do like Russian Circles. Um, Last but not the least, this is something Yashasvi would be pumped about. The album by Tadpatri Talkies, specifically
Hey,
and Bad Boy Bandya is out again on Spotify.
yeah, they're back. My boys are back.
Nice.
really good. Like especially if you understand Hindi, because now 40% of my audience is in America.
Yeah.
If you guys think I don't see you, I see
Yeah.
What's up?
Good day, mate. Just kidding. That's Australia. Don't do that, Karan. Don't do that. Don't do that on.
you.
Don't say they're the same. That's horrible.
Anyway, so that's that. I think we should end this one right now.
Yeah. Thank you for having us yet
Yes.
again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. We went for a while. Good luck with
Yeah.
this one.
It was an hour.
Um,
A little
Hey,
over an hour, actually.
it was an
Yeah.
hour. Nice.
Cool. Whoever ends this, please.
yes.
Please end it. I also have to pee. Oh God, this is still going. This
Can
is
I
keep
all.
this
end it?
keep this in the podcast.
I hope you had fun on that episode of Tangents. And if you did like, please like, share, subscribe. If you really think the content is worth it, I mean, check out more of it. This is just a more fun episode. But if you think the content is worth it and you've been listening for a while, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really helps out a lot. And see you with